Women crave powerful men. They might not say it out loud. They might tell you they want the nice guy, but they deep down crave powerful men. The kind of men that are not just physically powerful and strong, but emotionally in control of themselves, that have self-mastered themselves. This is what they crave more than anything, even if they say they want the nice guy. So stay with me to the end of this video because I'm gonna explain exactly why that is and how you can leverage this to your benefit. Now, this is where it's important to understand why women crave this in men. And this goes back to biology and evolution, okay? Now, to be clear, we live in a modern world, so a lot of what I'm gonna say has changed in what women actually need men for and rely on men for. But the thing is, it's still in their wiring, and that's why they're drawn to it, okay? So for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, women relied on men from a biological perspective because they needed protecting, they needed access to resources, and they needed to be protected on a physical level because life was dangerous and life was full of tons of different challenges. Now, in our modern world, women actually can acquire these resources and are in some ways protected from the dangers of life a lot more so than they used to be. The greatest fear for women throughout time was always that they would have children and that they and those children would not have protection from a strong male. And this would put them in harm's way when we lived in more dangerous times that were, warring times and factions of tribes going together at each other and all kinds of stuff like that, right? But it's important to understand, even though life doesn't exist like this anymore, this is still the wiring that's inside of a woman's mind and her biology and her psychology. So it's not that they need men for these same reasons today. They don't, okay, to be clear. But they still want to feel the power of that presence. And it's not just physical, like I said, it's also emotional. A woman that sees you mentally, physically, and emotionally strong, she will respond in a way that if you don't walk like this, you've probably never felt before. And when I used to be a guy that wasn't strong physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or any of that, I never thought the same thing either. I just figured that women were drawn to bad boys or guys that represented this kind of strength because, of some flaw in their wiring. But no, if you understand how women are wired, then you'll understand exactly why women are drawn to men like this. Now, it's important to understand that in today's modern world, women still do seek power, but you need to understand how power exerts itself and is received in today's world versus how it has been throughout history. So in today's world, power isn't about strength, control, and brutality the way that it used to be in older, more ancient times. Now it's more about status, influence, and your dominance in your presence. Now, I want to hit on a point here that is extremely, extremely important for you to understand. When it comes to people in general, but especially women, I want you to learn a very crucial point here. You should always pay attention to what they respond to and not what they say. Okay, a lot of times people will say one thing and then act out of accordance with it. And women are very, very good at this. And men do the same thing. Okay, we do the same thing as men, but women are masters at this. Now, what they'll tell you is that they don't respond to men. They're powerful. They don't want powerful men. But the thing is, if you've been around enough and you've paid attention to relationship dynamics, marriages, or even just your own life, what women actually respond to, you will see that what they actually crave is powerful men. Okay, I have watched this happen time and time and time and time again. In fact, I used to be on the wrong side of this equation. Women would always say they want a good guy, right? They want the guy that's emotionally available. They want the guy that's easier, has softer boundaries or whatever. He's the kind, nice guy, right? I played this role for much of my younger years. And what would happen is that I oftentimes was very frustrated because a lot of these women I would talk to, they wouldn't choose me, right? They wouldn't sleep with me. They wouldn't date me. And they'd date some other guy who I found to be kind of like a toxic dickhead, right? And the thing is, it took me time to understand this, but you can't listen to what women say because a lot of women don't really understand what they're actually drawn to. This kind of comes back to something in psychology called, or actually consumer behavior psychology, where we talk about latent needs versus manifest needs, right? Manifest needs are the things that we say we want and that we care about, and latent needs are the things that we don't necessarily know we want, but it's actually the things that we value, okay? And women are 100% the forefront of this entire thing. Now, self-aware women can see this in themselves, but the thing is, a lot of women will not see this, and if you become a guy that's very powerful and you leverage this to your benefit in life, you will see how a lot of these other men that might be good guys that have their wives or girlfriends or whatever, you'll see how they respond to you, and it's completely different than the way they respond to the men they're with. Now, this does not mean that they're going to cheat on their partner with you. This does not mean that they're actually going to violate their own code of ethics. This really comes back to how much morality and ethics a woman has. But I've actually been in many situations myself where women tried to break that, and try to get me to violate my own code of ethics with men that I'm very close with. Okay. And the thing is, sometimes it's overt, sometimes it's not. But the reality is, I never understood this for so long, why this was happening to me when I was transitioning into becoming more of a strong, more dominant man, is why were these people reacting to me this way? Well, it's very simple. It's psychology and biology. It's wired into women to be this way. Now, what you'll find is as you grow in your own power, and what I mean by your own power, I'll explain here in a second, you're gonna find that you yourself are gonna have more access to women, both that are single and that are taken. And here's the really crucial part. You have to be very centered in your own morality, your own code of ethics, and what you do with this. I'm not here to be your father and tell you what you should do and shouldn't do, but I'll tell you this much, violating that will put you in a lot of harm's way. So you don't want to get engaged with those things to the best of your ability. I hope you gained something from today's video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe, like this video, share it with one of your brothers, because we need to build more powerful men. I will see you in that next video.